Hello everyone, this is Jotto and welcome to the news for the 20th of July. Now for this week we've got 3 new cards. This is the last batch of secret cards before the set comes out, because for the second point today we have a release date for the expansion now. Well, okay, more accurately we've got in 9 days, but note down in your calendar, 29th is expansion day. I have no idea whether we're getting a card dump before then, or spoilers, or whatever, but that's when the set's coming out. So before we move on to the actual secrets, congratulations to Scraptime for getting the first of the golden tickets for this month. Since the golden ticket qualifier started, I want to say on time, I think. Since last month it was running a little close. It was running a little bit close, whereas this time they've kind of just started them immediately. Now, something of note for Masters and also the end of Ladder is that the expansion date releases the 29th, which means if they're legal on Ranked, which I have no idea what they will be, whether they'll be legal in Ranked or whether they'll be not legal in Ranked until the 1st or something, but I have no idea how they're going to do it, because it's going to be absolute chaos if they are. Personally, I don't mind because I love building with random cards, but yeah, I'm not sure what the consensus about people about how people feel about that is, but we'll just have to see how they handle it. And regardless, it'll be entertaining. So that's what I'll say as far as that's concerned. So we got 3 new cards this week, including the return of Bez Rock, who we'll be leaving to last. Yes, I know I'm annoying. Alright, first things first, Aerobridge, the common for this week. 3 mana and 1 order. It is a non-instant spell, which means that it's not a combat trick like so many other order spells are these days. Choose frontline or support line instead of row, I guess, so their official name is line. The enemy hero distributes 4 damage among creatures he or she controls on that line. This is interesting. So you get effectively 4 damage for your 3 mana, can't go face, and your opponent kind of controls where the damage goes, which is very interesting. So the way I see this is that it's good against stuff like Rage, because they can just distribute 4 damage across their like Gibber and Ronnie and Lizard, and that will kill both. That's really good. I mean, Order is already pretty good against Rage, but that's like the final nail in the coffin right there. That's crazy. Now, against the rest of the matchups, it gets a bit interesting, because it allows you to kill stuff like Guardian if it's the only creature in play. But in the Angel Mirror, you can probably just move a creature back to protect your Guardian. So, I'm not really sure how useful this is outside of aggro decks. Like, outside of anti-aggro decks, I mean. Because against stuff like Wisdom Dominion, it basically kills nothing. Because if they have 2 creatures that both have 3 HP, it doesn't kill either. So it's a bit awkward against the more mid-ranging and control decks. But against aggro, it's very, very good. So in other words, I think it's a bit of a meta call, but it's definitely quite a powerful card, and we'll definitely see a lot of play. Snowstorm. The uncommon for this week is a wisdom spell, 3 mana and 2 wisdom to cast it. The enemy hero distributes X damage among creatures he or she controls, where X is the number of those creatures. Freeze all creatures dealt damage this way. Now, this card is very, very strange. The wording is a bit strange, but we have tested it out to kind of check how it works. Basically, each damage is not flash freeze. You choose where all the damage goes, and then all the creatures you put damage on get frozen at the end. So you can put 5 damage on an Antriel, and then it gets frozen, but it won't die. So what do I think of Snowstorm? Now, I do think it's a little weak. It's quite good against aggro, but it seems it seems way too restrictive and quite frankly unnecessary. Now, I did get some use out of this after playing it 3 times, and then it was absolutely insane to wipe the board. But the problem is, where does this go? Because you need 4. You need multiples, you need 4, maybe you need reflectors. So you're thinking, well, 1 turn heal, right? Maybe? I don't know. You can use Snowstorming for 1 turn heal, but you already have Thaumic. You already have Thaumic. Not Laboratory. Not Thaumic. Unstable Reactor. God damn it. But anyway, you already have Unstable Reactor and the hero power for AoE. And also you've got Electrostatic Storm. So I'm not sure if this makes the cut in 1 turn heal. And it won't make the cut in any Wisdom Dominion builds because they've got Cataclysm instead for a reset. It only affects the enemy, but it doesn't deal with all the different board states like Cataclysm does. So where is this good? Well, you need Reflector. You need 4 of them because you need to play multiple for it to be really insane. The first Snowstorm does basically nothing from what I can tell. If they have one large creature, they just put all the damage on the large creature and it does nothing. So you need 2. Once you get 2, it can be really, really good. So you need Reflector. But that's a lot of setup for an AoE. I don't know. I don't know about this. I do kind of like the pseudo AoEs they're adding into the game. I think that's a good thing. But I'm not entirely convinced about Snowstorm. I don't think it's that good. Definitely quite a strange card, but I don't think it's that good. Bez Rock, Abyss Gatekeeper, he's back! So, for those of you who don't know, he was removed from the game a while ago. He was, see if I can remember this, 3 mana, 4 levels, and was a 5/3 with 3 speed. It was weird. And he had an ability where I think it was, he put the top 5 cards of your deck underneath him, and then when he died, they all came into all the demons came into play. So it was random, bad, potentially exploitable, and he was just a really strange card. Like, he was just a really strange card. And so they just removed him. They said, well, he'll be back later. So we were all waiting for this. So, he is the epic for this week. He is a legendary, and he costs 5 mana and 3 corruption levels and a generic. 5 mana, 4 levels. That's the most expensive card in Spellweaver. That's insane. I mean, I've been kind of waiting for big expensive creatures, mostly for reanimation targets and anything else, but like that is a large amount of resources required, especially for a corruption creature. So anyway, what does he do? Well, he's a 4/3 with 2 speed, and you get choose 1. Yes, the druid. Anyway, choose 1. You can either have him when he enters play, the enemy hero sacrifices creatures with a combined level of at least 3. Now, just to clear this up, since this confused a lot of people, including me, with the way this is worded, this means that your opponent has to sacrifice 3 levels worth of creatures. So in other words, if they have 2 goblins and a phoenix in play, they can sacrifice the phoenix, or they could do something really stupid like sacrifice 2 goblins and then the phoenix. But anyway, you get the idea. So he is potentially good against aggro, potentially. But he'll only kill 1 level 3 creature, or 1 level 2 and a level 1. So it's an okay ability. It's not too bad. So anyway, what's the second one? So you can either have him do that, or you can have, when he dies, summon demons with a combined level of 3 to the field. Now, this was also confusing, because it doesn't say where they're from. But no, what happens is that when he dies, an interface comes up, which is you can pick the exact demons you get. And you can get multiples. Which means, as we get to the problems with Bez Rock, yes. Okay, first of all, he's massively overcosted. He is massively overcosted for what he does. I mean, I don't think he's overcosted for a creature. I think it's cool having a creature this large. But he's so underpowered for the cost. I think we were kind of talking about this in stream, and it's like, well, what's his actual cost? Well, it's 3 mana, because you're never going to play him. You're just going to reanimate him. Like, we were kind of joking about this in stream on stream, where it's just like, oh, you're never hardcasting him. There's no point. He costs 5 mana and 4 levels, and he doesn't do a lot when you play him from hand for that much, like, mana. So, you're never going to hardcast him. So, as far as a reanimation target goes, he's not bad. He's a 4/3 that will half the time be using his first ability to stabilize, and maybe eventually use the second ability. But that doesn't seem to work. So, where does he fit? Well, his stats are too low, so you can't really rely on him as a body on his own, and his first ability doesn't kill enough. Like, it looks okay, but then you realize Karthus costs 4 mana and 2 Dominion, and can target one specific thing down. Your opponent doesn't have any say in what dies, and you gain life off it, and he has a larger body as well. So, yeah, you're not using him for the first ability, that's for sure. So, you're really looking at the second ability. Now, the second ability, from what I can tell, we were thinking, oh yeah, you summon a succubus. That didn't turn out to be very good. The reason why Bez Rock is actually playable is because of, I think, it might be an oversight, but I'm not gonna say that they missed it, because I don't think they really did, but you can summon 3 vultures. That's the only use we've found for him. You can make 3 vultures and mill your opponent for 12 with 1 card. Which is concerning. So, yeah. So now, we've basically got a card that is borderline useless in most situations, apart from if you're playing mill. And even then, he's only insane if you can actually get him to work. Because it doesn't require demons in your deck, which means if you're playing mill, you can say play Wisdom, Corruption, mill, because you got Eleanor to get your reanimates out of your yard. So you can maybe do that and play a mill deck, or use the green version with the Incarnate as well. That seems like a decent shell. The problem with him is that you need to be able to sacrifice him at will. So we're thinking, okay, maybe Enoch. That seems a bit awkward. But we'll have to see. The reason you sacrifice him at will is because mill is generally good against control decks, right? I mean, if you're playing mill and you play your Bez Rock against an aggro deck, well, first of all, if you had to hardcast him, you're dead already. But if you reanimated him, you're probably still dead. Because you have to use the first ability to stabilize, the second ability doesn't even get triggered. So you're using it against control. Here's the problem. If he doesn't die, he does nothing. Which means that if he gets tornadoed or landslided, he's just pointless. And he costs 5 mana. So yeah, you can't really use the second ability against any green decks whatsoever. What's the other problem? And this is the game-losing problem if he gets helmed. If your if Bez Rock is actually in a mill deck that becomes popular, people will just start playing 3 helms. And you can't win if your Bez Rock gets helmed, because he helms the Bez Rock. I mean, what are you going to do at that point? If you're not playing green, you basically have to have artifact removal, or be playing green so you can tornado it back to your hand. That's it. Because if the Bez Rock dies, it makes 3 vultures, mills you for 12, and then puts all the creatures back in his deck, so he wins the game. That's too much of a risk against control decks, so he can't function against Dominion at all, pretty much. So he doesn't work against Dominion-based control decks, which is the vast majority of them, and he has very limited use out of it. I think they've been way too cautious about Bez Rock. I do think they've been way too cautious, because he costs 5. You got to keep in mind, the abilities both look fairly decent, but he costs more than Red Dragon. Like, he costs more than Elder Red Dragon, Karthus, Ziara. Okay, bad example. Ziara's not very good. Antriel. Like, Antriel and Red Dragon are cards that literally can win the game on their own, and he costs more than them and does less. Like, that's the problem. So, he's just not worth the cost. And I think that's the main thing we've seen here. Like, Ziara has decent stats and a decent ability, and these are that bit. 1 speed is a bit sketchy. But the reason that she doesn't see play is because she's so costly. And she's not quite powerful enough to be a good enough reanimation target on its own. Because, I mean, like, even reanimator decks beforehand, reanimate was only played in the, like, combo decks to get Dragon. Because Dragon actually wins the game if you have the resources for it. Like, if you reanimate Dragon and you have basic Despina and 12 mana, the game's over. So that's what Bez Rock is competing with as far as reanimation targets goes, and I don't think he makes the cut. So the only time I can really see him be played is with Vulture, and I don't think they can really buff him into a point when he's useful with that second ability, because the second ability is too exploitable. Like, I think what they need to do with Bez Rock, keep in mind I could be wrong, but I think what they need to do with Bez Rock is they need to increase his stats, actually make his stats relevant, because 4-3 is laughably low. They need to increase his stats, and I don't know, change his second ability to probably you can only have one of each demon or something like that, where you can only summon one of each demon, because like one succubus, that's fine. Harpy, it's fine. Triple vulture is the only stupid one. And anytime there's any other level 1 demons, when someone's just gonna be going and triple, because as it turns out, mill 4 becomes a bit innocuous when your opponent you get 3 at once, so it becomes less. It becomes less of a laughing matter when your opponent plays 3 at exactly the same time. So yeah, I have no idea what they're going to do with Bez Rock, but I don't think he is very good. I think he's going to see a bit of play because it's Bez Rock and he's a cool character, but I don't think he's actually that good. So yeah, that's my verdict on the secret card. It's a bit of a mixed bag this time, in my opinion. I think Aerobridge is really good, but I think that Snowstorm and Bez Rock are probably on the underpowered side. So yeah, we'll have to see moving forward. Keep in mind, by the way, random comment about Portal. Bez Rock has no synergy with Portal. I think there was a bit of a there was a joke, which was Bez Rock's synergy with Dark Portal is that you die to your own portal before you play him, because you have to spend so much time, because you need 4 mana and 4 levels to actually play him, which means that you're not actually getting him out till turn 7, and with the turn 2 portal, you're dead. You're actually just dead by then, pretty much. So yeah, he does not work with Portal, so that's a plus, at least when it comes to Demon Synergy. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you like the content, please subscribe. If you have any feedback or want to ask me any questions, put it in the comment section below. If you want to support the channel directly, there is a link to my Patreon in the description, along with a 75 gold code with the Disquisitive Spirit Card Back for new players. But as for now, it's been Jotto, signing off.